Hi folks, and welcome to another edition of the OB-CCC OLE-B and Co Card Company. You're here with Uncle Harold. I'd like to thank the subscribers and the viewers that keep me on it going. I do apologise folks for the last couple of weeks that I haven't been about. I haven't been too well folks. The old bug got the better of me. The kids give me the bug. So yeah folks, I haven't been a bit bedridden and a bit crook. So I do apologise for that, folks. Do remember to like my segment so that the more likes I get, the better I'm going to get at this, and the better, more people we're going to have out there, and hopefully I might get a little bit of sponsorship so that we can crack some more boxes open on a regular basis. Now, as I said, I've been away for a couple of weeks, haven't been too good. So I'm going to do a little mini wrap up of round round 9. Which I didn't get to do last week, and then I'll follow on with the usual wrap, the Monday night wrap for the 27th of May. So I'll get to that as soon as I've done this mini wrap of the of round 8. Just give me 2 seconds, folks. I think I've got that on a little loud. Now folks, as I said, just a mini wrap. So we'll start off with the game of the Cats defeating the Dogs by 44 points. 21-7 to 133 to 13-11-89. My mom for that match was Tim Duncan with 3 goals and 25 disposals, folks. We move on to the second game of that week. Was the Dons defeating Freo by 7 points. A close game there, folks. 8-12, 62, 7-11, 53. My mom for that game was Zach Merritt with 35 disposals, folks. He was hot. He was burning the leather, folks, there with his hands. Now, for those that don't know what a mom's man of the match. As we move on to the third game now, the old hamstring Van Essen's beloved North have finally got up there and defeated Sydney by 5 points without the Buddy Franklin there. 10-12-72 to 11-11-77. My man of the match for that was Jack Zeeble. He had the ball on a string with 35 disposals, folks. We move on to game 4 for that week. We have West Coast defeating OLE-B's beloved Melbourne by 16 points. Poor old B isn't having a good run at the moment. 85-69 there, and my man of the match was Shannon Hearn with 33 disposals. That man has been getting a lot of the ball, folks, so watch out for him. We move on to the game 5, which I loved dearly. The inter-house rivalry here between me and him, and the home rivalry with my mother and sisters, who are all St Kilda. The Pies defeated them by 41 points, folks. 41 points, isn't that beautiful? They couldn't be separated all match right until the third quarter, when Collingwood showed why they're the contenders for the flag this year and St Kilda aren't. My man of the match for that game was Adam Treloar. My goodness, this bloke burnt the ball, the rubber and everything inside of the ball with 38 disposals. He is hot, folks. Now, if we move on to game 6, the Lions defeated the Crows by a very close game, 1 point, 13-15-93 to 13-14-92. My word, this went right down to the wire with a poster with a point actually becoming the most prized possession. It's scary when you say that a point's better than a goal, but in this stage it was. My man of the match is Rory Sloane. He had 19 contested possessions, folks. 19 of them were contested. He ended up with about 36 possessions. He is hot property, folks. He is getting the ball every week, and he is near on player of the match for Adelaide. Definite best and fairest for them this year, I would say. Game 7 is the Power. Jay Van Essen's Power defeated the Suns by 38 points, 13-11-89 to 7-9-51. I didn't have a man of the match for that game. I thought that the Power really played as a team, and it was just really too hard to separate as to anyone. I couldn't even really say. Most of the midfield were pretty solid, and their backs were solid. Forwards, Could have done with a bit more accurate kicking, but in the end they got away with it. So we move on to game 8. Richmond defeated the Hawks in another rivalry there between the old Noof and the Frecks. You know, the Hawks had the wood on the Tigers there for quite a while, so it's good to see the old Freckos get a few back now, with the Hawks defeated by 36 points by Richmond, 14-11-95 to 8-11-59. My mom for that game. My word, this man is hot. Dusty Martin with 37 disposals. He's the talk of the town. He's the flaming, the be-all that the kids want to be like. But, yeah, unfortunately this year there'll be no Brownlows for Dusty. Anyway, number 9. Giants defeated Carlton. Poor old Valerie. She's got the tissues out again with a 93 flaming point loss there to the Giants. And it's making me wonder, are they tanking, folks? I don't know about that. As I said, Patrick Cripps tries hard every week, but he's only one man, folks. My mom for that game, my goodness, brings back memories of the old Robert Harvey. 40 disposals to Lockie Whitfield from the Giants. My goodness, that is hot, hot, hot. That flaming ball, I tell you what, I don't reckon it would even touch his boot. It was that hot. Flaming, he burnt it before it even left his hands. Anyway, that's my wrap for round 8. If we move on now, we'll move on to the wrap for this week, the 27th of May 2019, round 10. There's some things this week that we'd like to mention, that the return of Buddy Franklin, and as we know, we've got to keep this going, folks. Only sitting at 260. Get on board, get in contact with me, and I'll tell you how to donate to that. It's all put aside, and we're looking at donating it, I think, to the Jimmy Steins Fund. Now, as we move on to the game 1 of that round, Collingwood defeated Sydney by 7 points. 11-14, 80 to 11-7, 73. Very closely contested game. All game, folks, right down to the wire. The Pies in the end just holding on. The return of the big freight train, Buddy Franklin, just couldn't get Sydney over the line. The lead seesawed pretty much throughout the game, and in the end, Sydney's inaccurate kicking cost them the game, with 1 goal, 5 points to Collingwood's 4 goals, 2 in the final quarter. My mom for this game, once again, second week in a row, 38 disposals. Adam Treloar has this ball on a string. Brody, an honourable mention, very unlucky to miss out with a massive 64 hit-outs. No man can touch that bloke in the ruck. He is gold for Collingwood. Now, I move on to game 2 for this week, was the Hawks defeating Port by 31 points, folks, 12-8, 80 to 6-13, 49. A scoreless first quarter, seeing Jay Van Essen's beloved Port wondering what the lever actually looked like, folks. They didn't manage to make a dent on the scoreboard at all, and never really looked like troubling Niall Cairo French's Hawks. Cairo must be thinking the Hawks are some type of chop at the moment, now that they're in the top 8. Well, I tell you, Cairo, think again. You know, there's a bunch of cats out there and a bunch of pies that say otherwise, and you're only a bunch of pretenders. You know, and us Magpies and Collingwood supporters are laughing at the mere fact of Hawthorn, even considering it that they're in with a sniff. I will give honourable mention, though, and he's my man of the match, to Jack Gunston. He kicked 6 big ones straight through the middle, which is a bit more than a lot of other forwards have been able to do this week, but we'll get to that later on in the week on Wednesday on Under the Pump. Now, he really lit it up down here, old Jackie boy, down here in Launceston in Tasmania. That's why he got my free votes. In the stats, though, interesting fact, Port Adelaide won nearly every single stat across the board. But it was just Hawthorn's execution with the ball which really won it for him. Port need to learn to play grassroots football, and like another Port supporter I know out there, need to stop being fancy and just flame and get the job done. Anyway, so we move on to game 3, North. Hammy Van Essen, you must be flaming loving this 2 in a row there. Flaming, and Nikki would be flaming, sitting beside you, rubbing her hands. My goodness, 18-7, 115 to 13-12, 90. 25-point victors, the old ruse. You know, I will say the loss of Boyd has been deeply felt at the Dogs, and I think it will take some time to pick themselves up again. And my heart goes out there to the doggies and to Boydie, who just, basically it become a little bit too much. And good on him for stepping up and actually being honest about that. You know, a lot of people try and battle through it, but he said enough's enough, and he needs to be commended and supported for that. They showed glimmers of the team, you know, the old doggies that they were there when they won the flag here a couple of years ago. But, you know, they really didn't look like, you know, bothering the what's name there, bothering the likes of Zeeble and that. Now, if I have a look, I would imagine that Mr. Van Essen out there would be chirping and crowing and crowing and crowing, and he has good right to chirp this week in a way. Toddy Goldstein with 57 hit-outs, a massive 57 and 28 disposals. Now, he would have got my man of the match, my mom, had he have actually played against somebody of any calibre. You know, the poor old doggies are lacking a centre, and he didn't really have any competition, so that's why he didn't get it. My mom this week goes to Sean Higgins of North Melbourne. This man was a game changer with 34 disposals and 5 hardball tackles. We move on to Game 4. West Coast defeated Adelaide by 12 points, 13-7, 85 to 10, 13-73. This was a bit of a weird game. West Coast led at the first change and then had a 1-point second quarter. You know, by about the 5th minute into the third quarter, Adelaide led by nearly 40 points, folks. And the game seemed beyond West Coast's reach until their old heads there at West Coast, the likes of Hearn and Yo and, and all of them, knuckled down and started to claw back the deficit. And at three-quarter time, they were only down by 17 points, folks. West Coast then continued to assert their dominance and put the foot down as the young and inexperienced Crows crumbled. I don't think Adelaide really have ever got over the loss of their star player in Patrick Dangerfield. My mom goes for a team effort to West Coast. Most players in that team, 20 to 30 disposals between them, right the way down the board. So that's why I called it a team effort. I've given honourable mention, though, to Crouch from Adelaide with 39 disposals, and that bloke has been pretty hot. Watch out for him. There's not too much else in the team where they're going to rob points for him on the chase, and he's been getting a lot of the football. He might be a dark horse there, folks. So we move on to Game 5. The Cats defeated the Suns by 27 points, 13-13, 91 to 9-10, 64. The game couldn't be split until the fourth quarter when the Cats showed why they are the number one contender for the flag, putting the foot down. And Voyager out there is full of chirp at the moment, and he's letting me know, and he has every right to be. The Cats are dominant. They dominated the final quarter, kicking 4 goals, 3 to 2 points. Geelong's defenders said no more back here, and so it was. They kept it, repelling it and getting it out there. My mom goes to Tim Kelly with 35 disposals, 8 clearances from the middle and 4 tackles. But as usual, it was a team effort there at Geelong. They are a very well-oiled machine, folks. I tell you what, there'll be a hard one to beat this year for the flag. Now, as I move on to Game 6, we've got the Tigers defeating Essendon by 23 points, folks. 10-13, 73 to 6-14, 50. The battered Tigers led at every change. It took Essendon until midway through the fourth quarter to actually find the middle of the uprights. Mac Daddy must be fuming in Ulverston about the way Essendon are playing, and I think they really need to put Kerry the hitman Maxwell at the helm and get onto them goal-kicking coaches and players. My goodness, when a team kicks over double the amount of points that they kick at goals, there's something wrong in them forwards, and those goal-kicking coaches should hang their head in shame and should take a pay cut. I'll tell you what, and Kerry would be straight on top of that and have it under control. So put Kerry at the helm. Vote 1 for Kerry. Anyway, my man of the match goes to Batcher Hawley with 37 disposals and 5 solid tackles there. Watch out for the Tigers though, folks. I'll say, you know, they've still got a bit of sting in them. Their back line's holding them in there at the moment, and they're only playing with half a team. You know, I reckon it'd get number 181 that used to play out there at the Myalla Tigers, thinking they're a chance for that shiny gold object in September or October or whenever the AFL decide to hold it. You know, they know all about this in the spirit of the game. Come on, they wouldn't know the first bloody thing about it. Spirit of the game. September, folks, that's when the grand final was held, and if it was a draw, it was replayed. That's the spirit of the game. Stop playing with it, you officials up there in the big wigs of boxes. Us down here on the ground level, we hate seeing it and we don't want to see it anymore, so leave the game alone. Anyway, as I move on now to game number 7, St Kilda finally get a win on the board, defeating the lacklustre Carlton, who, as I said, I think might be tanking and playing for flaming draft picks. Valerie would be having the tissues definitely out over a 13-point loss, being so close and seeing that they might have actually got a win. St Kilda sealed the deal in this game in the third quarter with 3-1. Carlton tried hard but just couldn't get it past St Kilda's back half, who repelled it effectively and punished them for Carlton on the scoreboard. The result could have been much worse though, had St Kilda have kicked straight, which is the topic of the week. Not a lot of forwards seem to be able to do this. St Kilda won the contested ball 17 times, and I think this is what won the game for them, along with their half-backs. Jack Steele is my mom for this game. 28 disposals, 5 marks and 10 tackles. My goodness, this bloke, no one was getting past him. This will keep Mother Hubbard happy and the M happy for at least 20 games, I would say, or until they have to face Carlton again. The Giants defeated OLE-B's flaming poor old Demons by 26 points, 14-10-94 to 10-8, 68. Another game where a team was asleep until the third quarter. Melbourne dominated, though, I will say, the fourth quarter, but the deficit was just too big by then. OLE-B had to endure 3 quarters of football that no man ever wants to live, a feeling of emptiness of their beloved team because they are just purely useless and shit. I felt that for 15 years, OLE-B, until 1990, so I'm feeling you, and I get what's going on there. They have a beautiful team on paper, and I just can't work out why they can't get it together on the ground. The Giants' 6-goal third quarter pretty much sealed the deal for them, and GWS just pretty much dominated the stats across the board, except for one, with Big Maxi Gorn saying, "I can't be beaten out of my middle. Get out of my circle. I'm coming through, beard and all." And nothing gets in that man's way. He was ferocious at the tap. My man of the match goes to Josh Kelly, though, with 31 disposals and 10 tackles for the Giants. Now, as we move on to the last game of the round, the Duckers defeated the Lions by 1 point in a very close game, 10-13-73 to 10-12-72. In the game of the round, the Dockers walked away with the 4 points after a nail-biting 1 point win. The Lions led at every siren but the one that counted, the final siren. That was what mattered, and they weren't up there then. Jamie Just for Men Crawford must be getting greyer by the minute as his frustration levels raise with his team. They just can't seem to get it done of late for him and get him over the line. Michael Walter's goal in the 17th of the fourth put them within 2 points, and a rush behind in the 22nd minute drew the game, and that player should enjoy a seconds game next week, I think. It was again Michael Walters with the ball, kicks at the goal with about a couple of seconds to go, scores a crucial behind right on the siren as the siren goes 2 seconds later. But Brad Hill is my mom. He's dominant last quarter with 9 disposals and 3 scoring involvements in the last quarter, and his pressure right to the end was intense with 31 disposals as well. So he's my mom, and that's my wrap up for the weekend just gone, round 10 on Monday the 27th of May 2019. You've been listening to the OB-CCC, OLE-B and Co Card Company. I'm Uncle Harold, and for Monday's night, the wrap. I'm out. Uru.